It wouldn't be a round of 32 in the midweek muster if we didn't check in on this guy. Who watches the watchers? Well, move over, Cal, because I'm taking your job. That's right. This is Cal, the observer for AoE 4 tournaments, going up against Lash, pillar of the German community. It is, of course, midweek muster number 8, which means we kick off on King of the Hill, and things got weird. They got really weird, folks. Draft had Rus and Chinese on one side. It had Delhi on the other, and yet we find ourselves with an Ayyubid HRE matchup, one that I would say is about 55% favored towards HRE. And I did say that I wasn't expecting Iraq's Rush opening, but of course, Cal, he had to disappoint. Nah. I mean, it's not the worst of ideas. It's a bit of a gamble depending on the spawn. Luckily for Cal, Lash got a really crap spawn. I was about to say a different word to explain it. He got a 4 gold. So marching to a Spearman could do a lot of damage. They do need to be quick about this. Especially considering Lash is rallying extra villagers out. So 3 on the gold, I think he could be quick enough here. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I've been noticing this with the King of the Hill spawns, and I think actually the devs need to fix it. One player, every time today actually, one player has had this type of cliffside and the others had this type. I think something's wrong with the spawn code. Because it means you're not getting the ideal rush distance one way or the other, right? Like, it's either meant to be that both players have to run around, or neither player should have to. Actually, a drastic difference on a map like King of the Hill. Count is going to arrive. Lash will be able to gather up the last of the gold he needs, though. Just needs to walk home afterwards. In fact, I don't know why he's pulling an extra villager. He actually had enough here. Yeah, he's just kind of overreacting a little bit, so giving extra idle time where not necessary. Wait, Lash, what's going on? This is not great. Kind of hoping he's going Dervish Wing just to the heal afterwards, but unlikely. Sheep haul looks pretty even. Got 14 sheep to the 11, but remember, for the HRE, they've been clubbing all the sheep. For Lash, he hasn't. So this is actually an edge for Cal. This is looking really good, man. Gold Garen underway as well. Dude, I would love to see Cal do a Mindwork build. I think Mindwork is slept on, man. This is the type of matchup where Mindwork can be very impactful. With the gold being front-facing like this, like your opponent has no option. And you may have culture. Okay, so here's the thing, folks. This matchup, I said it's like 55-45. The way it ends up that way is if HRE sends it in Feudal Age. And if they send it with mass archers, that is usually the cleanest way to get a win here. What makes it even brutally worse is the fact that the feudal play for HRE is mass archers, and that is the counter to logistics wing. Man, this is going to be harsh for Lash. Burn coming on the house as well. Looks like he's going to try to go for the repair a little. I don't think he was going for repair. I think that was just a misclick, right? As the villagers also rallying towards the next tree. So loses the house, we'll lose the mining camp. Behind this, Cal is going to be going for the Arcan. This is fine, though. Like I said Mindwork, I think it can work, but the reason why Arcan can be valued here as well is because the archers. There's going to be plenty of wood to gather in this area. Weird placement. I'm not going to defend him on that element. I think Cal... Oh, it's almost like he tried to min-max in his brain a bit too hard here. The best thing you could have done is put the Arcan further back by at least half a tile. And then you can just club the sheep on the corner here, get the gathering buff, get the gold. I actually think it's possible to, like, yeah, just finish off 1 or 2 sheep here and move them across the Arcan. This chapel placement is very questionable. Yeah, so, like, you'll see it when it goes up. Like, the circle is going to be here. And like I said, an extra half a tile means you would have gathered here with the buff anyway. But like I said, you in an ideal world, you just move all the sheep across. I think maybe part of the problem in his brain is he clubbed too many of them, but I disagree. It's only 3. So here we go. There you go. Look at that. It's kind of ridiculous the difference it's going to make, because it means he's going to have to just accept lumber camps on the edge here, unless he wants to lose the buff. Which, if this is going to be a long feudal, is a very big negative. It really should be. Lash now going back out on the gold. Does have the dervishes here, so like this is actually a bad play now for Cal. What a reasonable unit that definitely does not break the dynamics of Feudal Age in its entirety. The irony is Lash could just stab him to death right now. Wow. Oh my god, he actually almost lost the dervishes there. That was criminal. Good reactions out of Cal. Lash is just so resistant to the idea that he needs to build units. Loses a villager! Oh no. Not like this. Lash is genuinely just trying to fast castle him. Cal already has archers on the way. Stabs in. Gotta be careful with these dervishes. Yeah, Cal just needs more spears, and I think he has indeed got them on the way. Like, this isn't gonna work. Lash needs to build units. Finally realizes that he goes for the worst one possible. He's trying to cheese his way through this by using Desert Raider and heal spamming. The problem is Cal already has archers on the way. He shifts out. Oh man, I feel like actually if Lash had been shivving out in the first place, this would look a lot better. He wasted too much time here. Focus fire coming in. Villager will just about survive that. Scout, big mistake made there. Does give over a sheep. Archers are now here though. Spearmen aren't even trying to kill anything. They're just trying to kill the mining camp. Can you get a villager? I mean, that should be enough. Yeah, that's a worker kill. And this is hurting to watch. Lash is now trying to go into horsemen. Cal does still have a few spearmen though. At this point, I think you just get ready with a blacksmiths and get your steel arrow going. Farms being added. Cal, please. This is why the wood line would have been nice. Oh, he can't add another lumber camp, right? It's just kind of becoming a bit inefficient for a guy who doesn't have wheelbarrow as well. Needs to keep this pressure up though. This is the obnoxious thing about Dervish. As bad as it looks for Lash, Cal can't trade efficiently because if he takes 20 damage, the enemy takes 20 damage, one of them is going to be healed off, the other is not. Why does Cal have less villagers? I can tell you exactly why Cal has less villagers. I've just tried to not be brutal and focus on it. We've cast Cal multiple times in this midweek muster, and if there is one gaping issue in his play that always comes up, it is idle TC time. Look at it right there. It keeps happening to him. He really just needs... I think he needs to train that, man. Like, it's actually one of his biggest weaknesses that's stopping him from improving. Like, I will see him like 10 minutes in a game, 2 or 3 villages behind. And the reason is because, like, here's the weird thing. There'll be players at Diamond rank that do have less idle villager time than he does. And the reason is he's at that transition point where he's trying to optimize his eco, right? He's trying to not invest more than 50 food at any given moment into TC production. Right? Like, how many players right now would start queuing up, like, extra villagers, right? You queue up 4, right? He's trying to optimize, but because he hasn't got it in his muscle memory to keep switching to the TC every 20 seconds, like, it's just an inherent, like, subconscious thing at this stage. Because he's not at that stage, he keeps hemorrhaging like this. Despite the fact he's killed 3 workers, he only finds himself neck and neck on villager count. Now, you could argue it's worth it if you can keep killing villagers, and I agree. But against the best players, that's difficult to do. Then again, this matchup, we talked about how it should be really good for him. Lash has now been forced to go into archers. So after all that effort to try and go fast castle, Lash now has to admit to play the edge. Just going up, that's not going to work either. This is many archers, you just die. Swimner going to go in. Nice pinch on both of the horsemen. I mean, he's killing so many workers right now. This is ridiculous. This rush on an outpost might just lose Lash the game. Gets it up, but at what cost? Dervishes could die as well. Like, if you just target them now with the archers, it's even better. Instead, he goes for the greed, and all of a sudden, now 11 worker kills. Cal is annihilating Lash in this one. Also adding in the men-at-arms, just a more effective dive tool here. Also a frustration, just having a few men-at-arms is really nice, because then the archers just end up A-clicking the wrong unit. Cal looking like he's on top of the world. The only thing he really needs to do now is consider going for a ram. In the meantime, he's going to go for more heads, though. Archers dive in. Another worker kill. He can get multiple ones here. The Dervish is getting targeted. I mean, that's practically game. If he gets the second Dervish, there's no way. Slightly overstays his welcome. Cal, at this stage, just keep attacking. Right, I don't think you let up. Don't go castle age. Do not think about greed. This could be big. Cal struggles to get out of that first round. Usually ends up against really tricky opponents. We had him up against B. Can't remember who else, but it's been quite a hard layer of opponents he had to try and get through. But right now, Cal, man, he could start off 2025 in style. Lash, pretty much kind of a shock and awe moment, right? At this point, your ears must be ringing, because this was not what he was expecting. Siege engineering now coming in to make things even worse. If he starts losing buildings, he's pretty much dead, right? Like, this gathering here is not sustainable. Few farms now laid in. We still have the awkward lumber camps, but he's still getting the buff on all 17 woodworkers. And what is up, Voker? Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it, mate. Remember, guys, we're watching live or later. Be sure to be coming through and dropping those subs in. It supports me on my journey as a content creator. And it also means you get 100+ hours of content a month without having to worry about ads. No, the only ad you'll have to worry about is the one where I tell you to remember to subscribe. Oi, oi, oi. Are you kidding me? Cow, this timing. Are you actually kidding me? He just moved out here. That's a big oof. So Lash isn't going to be able to get the gathering for free. Ram, in the meantime, moves in. As Outpost gets denied. A lot of full production here as well. You can just deny this and stop your opponent getting an army in the first place. And wait, Cow, no. We went from genius to Like, wait, what? No way. Lash is running low on food, right? He's got 11 sheep, but half of them are clubbed. So probably about, what, 800? Oh my god, there we go. Immediate GG. The Spinman came back. Game number 1. And our very own Cow is looking to transition from observer to pro player. Question now is whether he can close it out in 2. I'll see you in the next one. Look at our boy. All grown up and winnering games. He took such a long break after that first game. I think he needed to walk around the house, headbutt a few things, and figure out how the hell did this happen? Because, guys, Lash is losing, Cow is winning. Going into this was not the expectation. Lash definitely the favored seeded person. Maybe you can get back on track here. Game number 2 is going to be Hallowed Spring, aka Himeyama 3.0. And we've got a deli pick for Lash. On the other side, Cow taking to the roofs. A comfort pick for sure for this lad. One that has quite often led to his downfall quite quickly. In fact, I believe in the Atacama week, he opened with Roos, and it did not end pretty. Let's see if this one can put a nicer look on his face. Roos definitely an interesting choice in this map. We've seen a few players utilize it fairly well. I want to say, for example, Stopper picked it quite a bit here, right? Like in the last KPMM. The double hunting cabin start is really nice because usually you get these fatter tree lines behind your TC. So he's really getting 33 and 34 trees underneath these. So good gold gen there. Nobody is going to be going water on the opening. Delhi don't tend to rush to it as much. And at the same time, Roos never really want to be going fishing. Even if there is a total of 4,000 food in this pond. Did we get predictions up? I'm pretty sure we did. No, let's start the predickies. I knew I forgot to do something. 2 minutes predictions, guys. Get them in now. Because last game, it was 78% predictions on Lash. Now, in that one, I think the matchup favored Cow. So if we follow that logic, this should go the other way around now, and everyone should just think Cow is the god. Definitely off to a good start with the sheep haul. Looks like it's going to be 14 sheep for him, 12 for Lash. And that's because, remember, when you go for this double hunting cabin opening, I mean, even just one hunting cabin, you can afford that second scout. It's a big enough map for that as well. It is interesting to see them both pick civs that don't really leverage the fishing, though. That is going to be a bit more tricky for Cow, because it means that Lash can get value out of these sacred sites very swiftly, while because Cow hasn't gone for a dock, he can't counterplay with his lodges. People banned this map so much last KPMM. Yeah, Kevayu. I mean, it's a new map. It's one they're not familiar with. I think it's also just a map where things like Delhi felt very dominant. What I was surprised by is so far we haven't seen too many French picks, but then again, we haven't seen too much of this map in general. I think French is really good on this map. Golden Gate coming in. Dome of Faith on the other side, so nothing unorthodox here. Likely from Cal, we're going to be expecting a fast castle build. And then from Lash, it's going to be probably just try to pressure and then mirror into castle anyway. What I'd love to see actually from Cal right now is he's finished his gathering of sheep. He's arrived outside the enemy base. There's nothing else to gather. In fact, you need to be very careful in this TC. Luckily, it looks like the villagers hadn't brought back the wood, so no threat there. But what you want to do now, come back across the map, shove these deer in. Get these deer underneath your TC, and you'll have everything you need for mass horse archers. What's scary about that, by the way, the reason why I quite rate the Roos play highly on this map is if you look, I said it's a bit like Himeyama. What I mean by that isn't just the pond. The pond is a bait. Get it? Because you use bait to get fish. No, no. The bigger detail on this map is the exposure. There's a lot of angles of approach here for things like horse archers, French knights, right? These units will thrive in this environment, similar to Himiyama, because it's just very hard to wall yourself in. It's kind of crazy, actually, how different a lot of maps feel ever since the Season 9 changes to walls, making it so much harder to just kind of like anchor yourself in safely, right? Like, that change was so fundamental to the core of the game. It just made certain maps that felt cruisable for civs feel almost impossible, right? Like, think about Himiyama a year ago. There were just civs where you're like, oh, yeah, I can just exist here. I'm not meant to be favored here, but I wall up so quick. Now, it feels almost impossible to do against the skilled opponents. Pro Scouts getting queued up by Lash. Going to take a while to get there, and, well, it looks like Cal is actually going to actively go for the Pro Scouts himself. So it doesn't want to do the deer shove in. I think what you're going to see him do is, like, gather the nearby deer for the first wave, so you have the better gathering rate, and then run across to your opponent's side of the map and take away from him. Lash is going to want to get in some Ghazi. Ghazi is just a solid counter to the eventual horse archers, but it's also a great counter in the meantime to the scouts. Actually, what have people been banning this map instead of Hallowed Spring? I forgot to check that when we had a look at the stats. So these two, they actually prioritize Gorge and Lakeside. Cal banned Gorge. Good on him, man. Yeah, I think, like, the interesting part is actually we haven't had much Pigeons view so far. That might be kind of more of a player-specific thing. It's like when we had Puppy Paw and WoW, I'm like, dude, they love Pigeons view. They thrive on that map. But yeah, Lakeside as a ban prior is no surprise either. That map feels very odd at the moment. People are going to have to get used to it. There you go. Cal taking the safe deer we talked about. But this is where you want to split up now. Like, if you go for different deer packs, the Ghazi play can't block you everywhere. That's the whole value of it. Lash is going to have to contest the castle play. This is tricky, though. Like, I think his Ghazi timing was quite slow, right? Because he unbanked the Scholar. He didn't keep him inside to pump quickly, which means your blocker against Pro Scouts is a little bit weaker. I'm wondering, like, is he looking for an efficient Sanctity timing? With 57 seconds out, it feels like that's what he's targeting. So he's probably going to rush for the Sacred Site soon. Good news is you could actually follow that up by dock placement. That gives you archer ships to protect this as a win condition. That also then gives you food. I actually think Lash's win condition here is lock these Sacred Sites in, protect them with Navy, and then the Horse Archer play is irrelevant, right? Because if you wall this up, if you've got archer ships, there's no play that the Rus can make. That is a long timer you'd have to be debating around, but it does give you a clear pressure point on your opponent. Lash, oh no, in desperation, rushing out into the berries at probably the worst possible time. High Trade House is coming in. Get your numbers in, folks, because this one looks actually fairly decent. Wait, did he just bait and switch him? He did, because now you can just come in with the other scout and yoink away. Oh, Cal, come on. Not like this. Also, another not like this detail. Looks like he actually idled the TC again. We talked about this for Cal. It's a tricky detail. He's working on it. But sometimes he's just too focused on remaining absolutely efficient around villager production that he skips. And it looks like he skipped on, what? I want to say, is that half a villager? Yeah, about half a villager. Lash about to complete Pro Scouts in the meantime. Yeah, Cal hasn't really gotten that much off the map. He gathered, what, 3 deer here? 1? None. Actually, yeah, none. So 4 deer so far for Pro Scouts. I mean, it at least pays for itself at that point, sure, but it doesn't feel very useful, right? Like, he's down to 8 sheep. He has at least got extra deer coming in. We've got 57 trees underneath the High Trade House. So you're probably looking at about 1.5 relics, somewhere in like 128 region. Arch ranges have been added in, so we've got the Horse Archers on the way. Sacred Site's now getting locked by Lash, though, and he's not far behind in his own tech timing. 84 gold. Okay, so it's actually 168 gold by the looks of it. I can't help but feel that Cal's not in a very good position here. I don't think he really got enough out of Pro Scouts. And now, like, you don't really have a way of blocking Sacred Sites. The Horse Archers are really slow to come out here. In fact, what? He's going straight into Warrior Monks. That is a very early switch into Warrior Monks. Usually you want to scale up to like 8 to 10 Horse Archers first. Because you're looking for a damage point, right? I think for Cal, he was paranoid about Ghazi. Ghazi are a great counter to Horse Archers after all. Which, come on, Ghazi's going to prove a nuisance on the back. 168 gold, man. Every time you think, oh yeah, it's only going to be like 1.5 relics. It's always more. House of Lenin now coming in from Lash. Villager lead is building. Lash now 2 ahead. Cal, I mean, dude, if you're going to build these buildings, they need to be used. The Warrior Monks are only now being queued. They could have been coming out, like, what, about 20 seconds earlier? He's also not producing Horse Archers. It's getting harder and harder to believe in this build from Cal. So what do you do now? Because the whole concept on Horse Archers is mass. If you don't have mass, you don't have potential. He could rage. That's probably his one out. And then prep a better army of infantry, right? So you just want to scale crossbows. Dangerous to do against the Delhi, but at least preps you for War Elephants. Also, you know, yeah, Pake's going to be annoying, but it gives you an opening. Instead, we've got spears getting added in. The Horse Archers just still not really finding the real targets. Going after the scouts is like the worst thing to be doing here. Needs worker kills. Like, funnily enough, worker kills are much easier to find, right? Half the HP and also not able to run away. I don't know, man. This is like... So the weird part to me is I believe it was Cal who delayed game number 2. I don't know if he was eating or if that was a meme, whatever he's doing. I'm pretty sure it was Cal, because Lash was at the PC waiting. And Cal was the one that won game 1. Like, you could argue, actually, like, if you lost the game and it's really weird, you want to delay game 2, right? Because there is such a thing as momentum in esports, in any sports. It's a true thing. And Cal disrupted his own momentum. Let's make this game look a little bit weird. He has at least got relic benefits coming his way, right? Pulling 2 extra home. So that's going to be an advantage for him. The Sacred Sites continue to tick, though. And Lash is making the right call here. He's going into Crossbowman. It's all about the funnel in the center now, right? Meanwhile, Cal... I guess if you build spears, you don't have to protect home is the logic here. Alright, 1's if you think Cal's going to win this, 2's if you think Lash is going to take it. Thank you, thank you. Year as a partner. Good feeling. Because I'm like struggling to see the picture right now for Cal. We've got Spear Blob coming, but that's going to get countered by crossbows. At least be able to find some eco now, but the Ghazi just quick to react and already vetted up. Sniper Scholar's nice. The village is the more important detail, though. It does get that kill. I do wonder if it would have been worth it to go deeper, though. Like, Lash was greedy. He didn't get textiles. Spent a long time killing the Scully. He probably could have killed 2 additional workers if he gone east. Obviously, we have the gold vision. Cal doesn't. Maybe he doesn't expect his opponent to be over here, but, I mean, wherever there's berries, there's going to be Delhi, right? 6-site decap is at least now on the way. And he should be able to get that, actually. Ooh. Maybe not. I mean, you'll kill the scout eventually, but it's the time it buys, right? Ghazi now on the way as well. Finally have survival techniques. Another thing that was just kind of missing a long time for Cal. Guy who went pro scouts just didn't have that extra food gathering all this time. So we'll be able to continue decapping. This is really important. Getting rid of that timer gives you some runway here. In a situation where you have more relics, you've got the high trade house, and we now also have 2 TC play from the Rus. Unfortunately, he didn't commit quick enough. Didn't get the cleanup. He's on the north side. Now, Lash, technically, you should have been able to stop this, but I think he just got bait and switched. Remember, the pond is a lot smaller than it appears. You have to look at the minimap to see just how big the shallow is. Lash can still block this. He's getting ready. He's going to march in. Cow hesitates and backs off, though. Goes in for the brace now. Crossbows are there. Sacred Site Timer is going to be protected, so Lash continues to trek down towards that win condition. Yeah, Cal, I mean, this crossbow massing, right? Like, you're losing this game. The problem is, Cal, if he got this decap, the game is very different because he's 2TC. That's an advantage. Now, being 2TC is a disadvantage. Right, by the time the TC returns its value, the time is going to be down to like 1.5 minutes. Lash playing for a clear-cut win condition. War Elephants. A bold choice to build War Elephants into crossbow spearmen. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Like, actually, Tower Elephants would be a lot better. Maybe he's worried about Cal switching into Knights here? I mean, in fairness, when you get in a fight, right, it's at least something to absorb shots so your crossbows don't have to, but yeah, compared to like getting a Tower Elephant, it doesn't make much sense. Slow chase down here, Cal. We'll look to get that decap then. Lash's numbers are a bit deceptive, by the way. That really needs to be emphasized here. 10 of them are not really military, remember? I'm still shocked by the War Elephant choice, right? That's like being challenged to a duel in the middle of the, like, you know, the Arabian desert and choosing a chocolate sword as your weapon of choice. Maybe like you're flopping around a wet noodle, you know? It's not going to hold. Next trying to wrap around the back. Menarm's now arriving. However, Lance is still alive. He can jump on top of the crossbows. This could be big. Nice micro. Baits away the remaining spears. And Lash continues to defend the Sacred Site win condition. Military lead now starting to build. Expensive fight here. Lance is getting taken out. The crossbow mass as well. Cow does have an edge there. So realistically, he should long-term be able to win this fight. Just need to get the troops across now. What on the way? And I gotta wonder, Lash. Now that the crossbow numbers are lower, is this elephant good enough? Of course, who am I kidding? Dude, it's meant to be counted. It's going to be good enough. It's such a weird build from Lash. Like, he sees mass crossbows and builds everything that gets countered by crossbows. And yet, still, it doesn't... like, I don't know, man. Dude, Delhi is just wild to me. Like, you have to look at this at some point and go, how is he still doing this? It's the eco-tax. He can afford more. So much more, right? That with the pro scouts, like that is why he's able to essentially punt weak-ass units into the counter and come out ahead. What a delightful civ. Oh my god. Mass Ghazi as well, just a smart read here. Don't really see Ghazi that often in mid-castle. Sacred Site timer down to 3 minutes. War Elephant's going to march in. If he's being ignored, he's doing so much damage. And this retreat is going to cost Cal the game. The crossbows are now exposed. He needs to fight. He can't just run away like this. Timer ticking. Frontline Finn and that War Elephant completely untouched. The Ghazi dive on by. Good micro by Cal, just trying to focus fire down the heavily armored units. Lash contend with a stalemate there. I mean, if you can really call it that, I'd say it's just him winning more and more now. We've got mass heals from the Scholars. Cal, I just don't see the way now. Right, after all is said and done, the worker kills have added up. This raids just kept coming in, means he's never built an economy lead. Just keeps getting caught. I think there was a Lance that snuck in here. It must have actually killed a lot more than we expected. And this is ridiculous. He does at least have some passive income that's closing the gap. These exposure points are starting to worry me. Spearman now marching north side. And you're seeing why I warned that Delhi is like an S tier pick on this map. The Sacred Sites are so close together that even with a slow infantry comp, you can get here in time. Cal, I mean, he has what, 5 spears here? I don't think there's any getting away this time. Scholars, oh my god, the Ghazi was not dying there. I think there's 6 spears attacking him, and the heal was so fast, the Ghazi almost just sustained. It's just ridiculous. What a civ. Very balanced, much fair. Ghazi also just wrapping around to block any berry gathering. Cow at least has the villager lead again, but we're now 1 minute and 20 seconds away. Okay, someone justify the state of this civ to me. I'll wait. I think I'll be waiting a long time. It's really hard to justify Delhi in their current state, right? Like, this civ is just ridiculously obnoxious. Put capital R on that. And what the hell are these walls? It makes it even worse. Like, before you at least pause the timer, now the army's going to be in position before you even begin a decap. So looks like we're going to be going to a game 3 on, was it Gorge? Dry Arabia, right? I mean, he's got French or Chinese. The problem I see there is, like, Malians, maybe? I think we're going to see Malians out of Lash. Very much a comfort pick for him, and a decent matchup, actually, against French. Unless French go, like, 2TC. But I've been seeing some interesting aggro builds from Malians that can ruin French for that. But now we'll stay focused on this game. Game 2, well, the Delhi have ruined the Rus. Oh my god, there's just so many Ghazi left over. Like, gold claps, you killed the elephant. But you know, like, elephants are so 2000 Dumbos, and now we're all about Elsa. And it's going to snow with wins here for Lash. Delhi, once again, getting a big dub. The Psycho done it. He's going to make Cow kill his own people. One and all. Welcome back to the deciding game between Lash and Cow in midweek muster number 8. It's in a very interesting series, but it comes down to this. A comfort pick for the Malians on Lash. On the other side, Cow, I got to give it to him. This was not what I was expecting, but I'm happy I see it. I thought we were going to be getting French. French, to me, would have been a comfort pick for Cow more than anything else. But instead, he tries to be strategic. So we're going to be getting Chinese versus Malians. A matchup where China can actually just lean into an eco boom to out-mass Malians. Because there's nothing a Malian player hates more than multi-TC. But you know what I hate more than Marine Lord spawns? Lash spawns. I absolutely despise Lash spawns. What the f... What is this? Are you kidding me? Okay, dude, Lash had GG. He should have picked GG. Could you imagine how quickly this would be a GG if he'd picked GG? Unbelievable. What is up, G.I. Joe? Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Appreciate you. Welcome to this one, mate. Make sure you get those subs in, folks. Dude, I'm not exaggerating. The other pick that Lash had was GG. If he'd picked GG here, that would have been... God, what is it? 84 food and 50 gold. He would have got 84 food and 50 gold for that. Right next to his base. Unbelievable. Yeah, the one wolf that would have stopped the Medigarden, right? You want to see him just defensive landmark and just protect this? Yeah, it'd be great, because then later on he can just trade. He's going to have it all. Count. He's going to have a big moan about Dry Arabia after this one, I reckon. So we will be getting Imperial Academy beginning. Is there a world in which you Barbican? I actually really like Barbican in this matchup on a delay. The whole idea is you'd rotate around the back, you'd set up the Barbican here, and it blocks everything. And if Lash doesn't go for an early outpost, there's no protection either. A little bit surprised Cow didn't try for like a Rax beginning. That's quite popular actually against Malians. Instead, just plays for his greed. And by the way, I think we have a Barbican drop. You let these spawns, at least a different gameplay as resources always secure. I'm going to take the other angle and say spawns like this are why Dry Arabia can actually be the opposite of what it's intended to be, which is an incredible map for competitive play. Because, like, I have had way too many cases where a player has basically said they lost a series because of a Dry Arabia spawn. Sometimes it does this type of extreme. But what you can get in return, and I think what Cow is going for in return, is this just Barbican safely at home into 2TC? Because if it was Barbican aggressively, you'd be like walking some villages over, you'd be building some production buildings on the way. Instead, he's just going to greed up. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I quite like the idea of aggro here. I think China has for a long time been perceived as a greedy eco-civ. But actually for a while now hasn't really functioned that way, right? Like a lot of the time actually China plays opposite to that idea. They play aggressively. We've seen a lot of all-in type plays where you just go archers into the late Jug and Nu, you go for ram rush timings. Just a lot of powerful aggressive things you can actually do with this civ. Yeah, Cal has scouted this, by the way. He knows about the spawn. Final sheep haul is going to be, what, 10 to... I think 10. God, I got to get used to my new key bindings. I switched it around a bit. Yeah, so neck and neck on sheep, at least. And yeah, it's just going to be a safe Barbican. So we are just getting 2TC Song. I mean, Cal knows how annoying 2TC play is for Malians. You have to remember Cal has played a lot of Malians in the past. But like this to me is a bit weird, given the potential opening you had. Looks like Lash is going for Bro Scouts. Not the worst of ideas. You take the deer away, your opponent doesn't have much. What is this barbecue? It's all about just protecting for the stone gathering. This is a pretty atypical Chinese Barbican for 2TC play. You'll see this one like practically every 2TC rush game. Because then you just build the TC behind, you just hunker down, you play for the mid game. Problem is, like, are you going to have enough food for that mid game, right? Like, we do have Pro Scouts already being queued up. And Warrior Scouts already upgraded on the way. Lash actually probably could have got a worker kill out of that. Decided to actually back off early. So what you want to do now, if you're Lash, is you just want to camp both deer stacks for when the enemy scout comes over. You don't want to allow a deer shove in. If anything, you want to push the deer the other way, further away, and then kill them. How do you get food? Well, I mean, whenever you have a BBQ, the way you get food is you put it on the BBQ. He has to put this food on the barbecue. Now, some of them are naturally just moving towards it because deer, obviously, getting a little bit cold in the winter. But they're not going to get close enough. It's actually obnoxious how much you heal them. Oh, I've been shot in the face. It's okay. I grew up playing Call of Duty. I'll just regen that. Now, funnily enough, actually, what Cal wants to keep an eye out for is if Lash goes to that deer, you want to quick garrison. If you quick garrison, you'll likely be able to get the Warrior Scout kill. You really need to. Pro Scouts is now in. So Lash will begin harvesting soon. The goodies are coming on home. Cal, unfortunately, the timing actually didn't work out for him. He'd already finished what he needed for stone. So he wasn't in position for a garrison. And yes, the regen is obnoxiously fast. Reminder, it used to be even faster. Do you guys remember Wakanda Forever meta? Where you just built like 6 to 8 of these Warrior Scouts? And that was pretty much good enough to win you the game. Yeah, that was a dark time for AoE 4. We've had a lot of dark times, haven't we? So Cal has at least got his second TC. Wait, what? Why? This is a very weird thing to do at your town center. Can you guys guess why you don't do this with town centers? Watch what happens. There's going to be a awkward, teensy tiny issue. No, it's not just taxes. It's also supervision. Admittedly, he's not supervising the goal, but if he's looking to fast castle now, he should be. Right? You can't supervise a town center. This is rough. I think the other thing that I don't like is, like, you know, he hasn't faltered so far with it, but it might come up because it did in game 1. Remember game 1, Cal got distracted and skipped on TC production. So after beginning the series like that, he chooses to lean into a civ that is going to be all about TC production. And he's already skipping on both town centers. Oh my god. Actually, between them, that's already added up to over 10 seconds. This is worrisome because now that eco lead you're meant to be escalating isn't going to be coming in very aggressively if you keep skipping like this. The second TC's not even operating. Oh, man. Cal, this is kind of a bit of a rough start. I think this is what's struggling to inspire confidence for me. On top of that, he only has berries in the corner to work with, right? He's already set up a granary. Maybe he thinks about farm transition early. Meanwhile, Lash can just think about fast castle. I think you just fill 3 cow ranches and go castle. You don't actually need that many sofa to break your enemy here. So keep in mind that Cow is down to only 7 sheep. So like it or lump it, it will be berries. Oh, this still pains me. If he just staggered the TC, right, one away, it would be fine. Kao should know his timing, right? Like, he played a lot of Malians. He should have that feeling of how quickly this is coming from Lash. He's at least producing vills. Occasionally. Like, this is the thing. Song is going to ramp you up into Elite quickly, as is the Imperial Academy, because it adds 4 extra eco units to your count. But the gaps are kind of awkward, right? Like, you're not reaching peak as quickly as you should. Meanwhile, Lash seem ready to peak. You have to remember that although there's a village elite building, if Kao keeps skimping and forgetting to produce villages, it just adds merit into this ranch play, evening him up, right? Like these ranches right here, the 5th one coming up, this is worth like 10 villages already. So he's neck and neck, actually. Then you add in the extra passive income of Mansa plus double pimp mine. All of a sudden, the Malians aren't looking too far behind. Cow boom versus cow... Oh, Beal, please. Yes, we're about to find out which type of cow is better. Natural grown cow? Wait, actually, no. Natural grown cow? Or battery farm cow? Is that what they call them? They call them like battery chickens, right? Cow's like, if I just hit it 23 more times. Man, cows really are tanky, aren't they? Which is kind of impressive for a poor creature that if you pushed it on its side, it can't get up. Doesn't really seem like it's 23 health worth, 24 health worth of defense, does it? So Feudal are now coming. Cow is mirroring the tech at least, so this is good. Because he can try to pump Lancers. Food isn't crazy for him, right? Like I said, it's berries. Then again, actually, check this! Well played. Cow was able to actually claim 4 of the deer in here and wall them in. So that's going to be very important. That's actually a healthy 1,400 food to work with. Astronomical clock tower now also on the way up. Okay, so Cow actually isn't dead, guys. This is... I'm impressed. I was a little bit worried. I thought the gaps were going to emerge. I didn't think he was going to have enough food for this. But 1,400 extra food is pretty important on 2TC. And of course, he does have all the berry back spawns as well. I remember, once you have about a 20 villager lead, you've eclipsed the value of Fulani at least. Now, long term, it's going to be a problem, right? Because like when you're both pop maxed, the Fulani's better. But that's a long way off for Lash. Not so much for Cow. Next target is going to be relics. Lash should be prioritizing just sofas to control the map right now. Lash actually needs to be going after relics himself, and Mosque is already up for that reason. If you're Cow and very quick about this, you can actually sneak to your relics home on the flanks fairly easily. It's not as much about, like, you absolutely want them. Of course you do, but it's more important to take them away from Lash. I actually like that Cow's taking the risky resources now. It just means he can fall back to safer afterwards. Port arm is also now on the way. It looks like Cow is getting into those relic gathering shenanigans we talked about. And we do have a few farms now getting added in as well, so this is going to give him his permanence. Farm transition is going to kill him? I don't think necessarily. You just need to be very careful about the way you do it. You need to make sure you're elegant. Don't rush it, because if you add in like 20 farms, that's too much of a gap in production. You'll just die to the flood of troops coming your way. What he does need to do is start prioritizing some Nesta bees. Because the whole point is, after you gather these southern resources, your whole economy is going to be from here to here, right? It's just this gap. Nesta bees can protect that. Cow. Moving out north side now. He's actually getting very greedy for his relic gathering. Funnily enough, both of them are, but Cow is actually in position to deny. Alright, that worked out perfectly. So intercepts the first Imam. Moves out of his own monk. Lash may have been overly greedy about that. He's going to play a little bit safe with the secondary. So this is going to end up being a 2-3 split, just not in the way I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be close to Cow's base. Instead, it's going to be north side. In fact, Cow is already trying to block additional relics. A little bit greedy from him, but Lash doesn't really have the firepower to deny him this flex. just that. Look at Cow's economy flexing. This amount of wood income. This is starting to look good, folks. I mean, I'm impressed, man. I think, like, I was worried for a sec. I think it was fair. I think Cow would nod and agree, like, you know, especially the macro on the TC in game number 1. We've seen it in previous games in the weeklies. We highlight a lot because it is probably his biggest weakness. It had me concerned, but this has looked a lot better, a lot cleaner. Does need to fix his housing situation. Does need to fix his housing situation. It was looking better. Cow has forgotten that houses are very important when you don't play Mongols. It's now on the wall a lot. Oh, this is problematic, though. Cow has got another relic on the way home. He's trying to shift out for one of the most greedily located ones. It looked like Cow was going to get away with this, but I love the way that Lash just bypassed him with a faster army. And now this is bad. Nestabes are good, but playing out the base like this is bad. Finally, we do have a village being added in. Relic is now being picked up. Lash will be able to walk it away. Stealth Forest a little bit tricky, but Cow does see through it. I'm getting this weird feeling that Cow's only ever going to get one relic. I mean, if he can somehow get this one all the way home, I'll be bloody impressed. And this is important, right? Because if Lash gets 4 relics, it offsets the village lead. Lash is also doing something a bit crazy. Am I seeing this right? No, okay, thank good. What? He just queued up 10 warrior scouts into mass spears. I mean, yes, it's a counter to the crossbows, right? But I feel like you'd rather have either additional archers, right? Instead. So what's Lash's optimal transition? I mean, mass archers seems cool in theory, but like if Cow just hunkers in the corner, he can just go Imperial. He's setting the farms up. He's almost complete on it. He's got the gold veins, right? He's got 8k still in reserve here. And then adding all the taxation from producing units, like he's kosher. It's got a secondary tree line, which is secure as well. I think Cow doesn't really need to panic rush out. It's on Lash to now attack him. Warrior Scouts to take Nob down. I think it's like a moot idea to take them down, though. Like, if you could choose Sofa or choose Warrior Scout, you choose Sofa, because Sofas are phenomenally more tanky. Mass Warrior Scouts could just get killed by mass Nestabes. Man, what a strategy at Cow. You know, I can tell that this man has been watching those S-tier taunts that he's been casting and observing for the last few years, because this is basically every Chinese game ever. Mass Spears and Nestabes. Breaking the wall on the south side is good. Cow. He's getting a little bit split here, actually. He didn't set up a keep. He didn't set up a secondary wall there. He's at least getting that up on the north side. He's got Spearman in position to defend against this, but the archers are more problematic. Lash is starting to find that pressure he's been looking for. Sofa's now reaching to the south as well. Oh my god, he's everywhere. Cow, if he can survive this, he's a god, man. Like, this is hard for the best of players. It's a multifaceted raid. And finally, Cow realizes actually the optimal strategy would have been stone walls, but the question now is it too late? Breakthrough just to the south of here as well. More are flooding. I suppose we'll at least be able to protect the farmlands. See Pascal distracting as well. Looks like the stone wall did go up, but the price is high. Cow losing a lot of villagers here. Siege also getting sniped. He moves through. And Cow is so distracted, he's not even pulling away. More workers dying. All of a sudden, the eco lead is gone, right? Remember, with the Fulani, Lash is now ahead with that +4 relics, and he's going to get further ahead here. Cow looks dead. Not the type of Cow that need to be dead in this game for China to win. No, those ones are happy and content. 90 food a minute. Then you add in the extra 20 per cow. Lash is loving life. Cow kind of starting to hate it. Still just even more workers dying. After that raid, 28 dead workers. New wave coming in. I mean, this is relentless. Like, if Lash keeps this type of pressure up, Cow can't really win He has got a lot of crossbows, but admittedly, Lash has the answer in archers. 2TC seems like a death sentence versus Mali. Not necessarily. Can actually be very good against Malians. Malians hate 2TC. I think Cow just needed to find a way to raid instead of just camping, right? There is also another build China can do against Malians, which is like a proxy base Barbican drop, which you can do all in. But it's a little bit risky because if it gets seen early, Malians can just beat you down with javelins. Second TC now. I mean, Lash. He's like, there's only so much I can kill. What have you really got left? In the middle, there's still 83 workers, right? But I like this from Lash. He's flying so much gold at this rate, he'll naturally end up in Imperial in about 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. Especially if he slows down production. Like, if you just focus on archers, you'll have plenty of food. Cow is now gathering the stone for a keep drop. Really needs it. And your farm transition is what? Probably 25 deep? 28. It's not that full-fledged later game economy you're looking for, right? Hadn't even got food eco tech 2 either. Would probably benefit from it now that he's trying to mass pass guard. Good choice here, considering your opponent has been massing archers. However, if it gets spotted early, Lash can switch into the sofa. Love the fact that he's stopped diving and now, after going 2TC, he's just going sacred sites. Classic counter to Chinese, make them come out of the corner. Cow's micro is bad? No, dude, he's just reacting to many fires. Right, like Lash is attacking 3 or 4 places at once. It's actually easier to be an attacking player than a defending player. But it's more rewarding to be a defending player than an attacking player from like a value in RTS standards, right? Like, not every RTS keeps this to the absolute truth, but I think actually AoE4 does. Is that like you can win easier attacking than defending, but if you can master defense, you will win more than you will lose. Does that make sense? Because like defending just gives you the inherent edge of reacting quicker in a more powerful way, right? Wow, marching out for a clash here. Yeah, the problem is the movement speed isn't really on your side. He kind of needs Yuan. If Cow can get Yuan Dynasty, it'll be huge here. There'll be no walking away for the archers. A bit back and forth poke here. This Cow is staking a claim. The keep drop wasn't for the farms. It was instead for the gold. He's claimed to the center of the map. He knows he needs a staging point to get a decap on that sacred site. Meanwhile, Clash, north side. Reducing his archer counts quite nicely. I think you pull the trigger on Yuan here. You're 170 pop. By the time you complete Yuan, you'll have enough food to then just regurgitate up to the final number. Having that mobility is more important right now. Okay, so Cow getting 8k is a pretty big deal. Late game is now feasible. He just needs to deal with the sacred site first. And with a keep nearby, and Yuan now on the way, it should be very difficult for Lash to contest. That's going for a dive. Sees the Imperial Pass being built. Pretty ballsy to do it in his face like this, but the choke point is going to work nicely with the castle defense. He actually cancels it. A bit of an interesting choice. Did lose some resources off the back of that. I don't think that was necessary out of Cow. He could have baited Lash to keep diving there. Got a good engagement. Instead, he has to reallocate the resources. But once again, now because you don't have Yuan, look at the difficulty of keeping pace. I don't know. I don't think Cow needed to do that at all. The Yuan is more important to complete. The reason he's losing these fights, or rather not winning them, is because the crossbows can never keep up. Yeah, a little bit perplexing there. Especially when it's such low HP, it means that just a tiny bit of damage is going to cost you resources. Notable resources at that. We do at least now have a decap coming in. So he doesn't have to worry about that pressure anymore. Lash is transitioning into Trebs, but that's great for Cow. It slows the game down, which is what he wants, right? Because if you slow the game down, you both reach max pop, you have to then ask the question, which side has better units? It's China, right? Like pyrotechnics as the game goes on. Palace Guard, very efficient raiders compared to Musafadi for raiding. Sofas are admittedly the competitive point for Malians, and the hand cannoneers are good damage, but I mean, no one's going to tell me that there's anything better than Chinese hand cannoneers. We have Imperial Palace on the way. It's being built out here again. Breaking comes through though, and Lash. It's a fox in the hen house. Oh my, oh my. We've been here before. We've come here again. Farms have to be pulled away from. That's going to be a big gap in gathering for Cow. And also, you're basically running into the waiting arms of the Raiders. Behind this, Lash is starting to stockpile. He could be looking for a tech up. I just don't like this right now. This is so expensive for Cow. Lash is just frivolous, right? Toss away a bunch of these cheap crap units, replace them the next wave. I love the fact he's also taking the wood away, just starving resources from Cow. PC is about to explode? Dude, chill. Wait, is there starters? One's of the starters. No, I know what the starters will be, and it is actually nothing to do with the PC. Because the PC is not maxed out at all. The issue will probably be on the upload end, because we multi-encode. Yeah. I am switching internet provider this month, so that will not be a problem soon. Because my current internet provider doesn't have, like, they don't have fiber optic as an option, proper fiber optic. So I can't get equal download, equal upload. But I'm switching over, and we're going to get something like, I think, 750 upload. That it's probably because the multi-stream, because if you guys, you may have noticed, like, the quality of the encoding on all the different formats is a bit better. Because I'm sending about 5 different levels of quality options on YouTube and Twitch. Wow, has got the Nest of Beast together now. Yuan's a really big deal here. We talked about how before he was getting kited, his crossbows couldn't engage. Now that issue doesn't exist anymore. Clash coming in on both sides. Lash, he was getting ready to go for a tech up play. Nest of Beast shots coming in. The Sova trying to wrap around, but it feels like a wasted effort here. There's knob shots. Adding in a lot of damage. Archer's hit on the back. Cow has lost the castle, but the plus side of this is he's going to win the fight. Archer Mash is shrinking fast. Crossbow numbers are looking strong. Just needs to get those finishing touches. Second wave of Spinman are now arriving. The keep drop from Lash is ambitious. He has to cancel. Nice blockers on the walls as well. So it looks like he's going to be able to try and carve up the map a little bit further. For the Huntress is on the way, though, for Lash. Meanwhile, Cow, he's put everything into this. He can't stop. I don't think Cow's going to get deep enough fast enough here. I mean, the upside is your opponent is building a fort, the Huntress, in the... I'm sorry, when did Lash switch civs to HRE? Because this is how they build. What? When have you ever seen a Malian player build 4 landmarks on one screen? When one of them is a fort, the Huntress. Nest of Beast getting shots in. Can he get another one? No. Good dodge there, Lash. Gets the age up. Avoids losing 20+ workers. But Cow now needs to mirror. He could try to continue to pressure, but the timing is just not there anymore. It's a good bite back, but the bigger problem now is that Lash is aged up ahead of you. He has access to the northern resources, so gold to work with for days. Meanwhile, Cow, it looks like he actually is going to try to send it. Well, this is ambitious. Considering that Lash is playing Malians with 4 relics, you have to assume that he has enough gold for all of his elite tags. And we can see he does. Not just that, he has Farima leadership, which is nuts in this matchup. Yuan Dynasty gets discounted by Farima. Holy crap. Now, you do still have an issue if Cow reaches Imperial, and I still do favor China in that late game, but guys, China isn't in the late game. No. They're stuck an age behind. 75 megabits a second for like 10 bucks. I'm paying a pretty ludicrous 67 pounds a month to get, I can't remember what it is. It's meant to be like 800 meg download, but the upload's substantially weaker. And you have to remember, like, I am encoding multiple times, but I'm also encoding multiple times sending to YouTube and Twitch. So yes, very much looking forward to my new provider. I think I'm going to be paying £40 a month for 1 gig. Still kind of nuts how expensive it is, but not as bad. Alright, ones of you think we're Crown and Cow the winner, twos of you think Lash is going to take this. Yeah, I've got some Treb play coming in, and Great Wall Gatehouse is now on the way. That's on the farm, so we'll have that protection. Oh, Cow, don't do this to yourself. They always do this. Help. When will they learn? See, English tack to death their civilians? Of course they do. You've seen how enclosures works in AoE4. Told you guys before. Ain't cheap to be a full-time content creator, especially when you live in the UK. And I don't even live in London. God. It would be much cheaper if I lived up north. But I don't think the infrastructure would be as good. It's a trade-off. I love that Lash, the Cow Rub is like taking out Lash's 4 buildings. Like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but every little helps here. Lash is prepping mangoes. This is one scary area. As I said, hand cannoneers win, but actually the biggest scarier thing is if Malians get trade going in infinite gold, Mangonel's adjustable crossbars wins. That's the scariest fort here. Is that China, for all their power in hand cannoneers, sucks in siege at this point in the game. Lead techs are complete. They look to clash with Cow before Cow gets their own upgrades in. Nestavis can get a big shot out here, though, if they stopped and fired. He goes for the mangoes and gets rid of them straight away. 1 down, 1 almost dead. Keep drop now coming in. Cow really looking to stake a claim on the front side here. And I don't think there's enough Sova to break through. Lash. The army cannot break the Nestabimas. Cow catching Lash before the mangoes can really take over. Wipes the front army and looks to just chase on in. Has got the crossbow spearman upgrade in elite tech already. Key drop to secure the wood as well. Just ironically returning the favor that Lash sent him a long time ago. Cow, I think the only thing that's really missing now is some full production. That really would be the chef's kiss, the creme de la creme. Cow, can he do this, man? This would be huge for him. Because going into this, I think most people would, and no discredit to Cow, they would have expected a 2-0 from Lash. Is that consistency? But ironically, Lash playing his comfort civ and one of Cow's most comfortably known civs. Maybe about to be on the receiving end of a spanking from our Norwegian friend here. Trebs now moving in. Mansa about to go down. All landmarks on one screen, which means he can force pressure again into the same location. Outpost also going up, so he gets an early warning. We also do have additional barrows. 1,200 resources for those extra rocket arrows, but it's going to be worth it against Mass Musafadi. And the outpost is going to guarantee that no stealth shenanigans can come to play. Oh my god. For this to end up an Imperial, but defined by trebuchets. Tell me that this isn't how Treb should be. Finally, a worthwhile unit, it feels like these days. Lash probably has one final attack in him. If he doesn't kill the siege, he'll lose the buildings too fast. We do have Banker repairs, who's at least able to rush the repairs a bit faster here. Cow would benefit from more static emplacements. Flash coming in again. STBs need to do their thing. They go for the back line, they go for the archers. He just wants the counter to the spears removed. Wrap around the back though, the trebuchet's being targeted. Lash is going to be able to find them here. And the Nestabi is looking unguarded. Cow! He misread the position. Lash gets us around and forces him back. Oh my god, it's happening. Adjustable crossbars arrived. Cow, if we just had some emplacements, a few more buildings to fall back into, Lash wouldn't have been able to achieve that surround. And now the slippery slope may begin. 4 mangonels for Lash. The most accursed of techs has arrived. Adjustable crossbars that has ended so many games in Imperial. Something that, remember, China do not have. They don't have a mirrorable tech. The closest they get is the extra barrels, but it just doesn't shine a light to the true siege of the late game. Cow just desperately trying to keep that castle alive. He needs the staging point. He just has a real difficulty now of how to answer this. Ironically, the man who was holding his opponent hostage with siege now finds himself staring down that same barrel. Hand cannoneers is now at least on the way, but folks, had he done this pre-mass adjustable crossbars, mangoes, I could believe. Doing it now as a reaction is death. And this is definitely about to get worse. Elite Army Tactics is on the way, even precision training. And we don't have Elite Army Tactics for Cal. The one upside is your opponent is massing Musafadi, so your gunners can do really well with the Serpentine Powder because of the movement speed. Like, actually, have you guys ever noticed how absurd Serpentine Powder is on these hand cannoneers? No? It's because you haven't watched enough Chinese late game recently. With Yuan Dynasty already accelerating them, getting Serpentine Powder just allows you to bum rush your opponents. It's pretty crazy. Delay the game for another hour? Do you really want to do that against Malians? Have you ever heard of this thing called Malian trade? Now, myths say that it doesn't really exist, but I've heard it does. You're not going to get to see it in this game. In this game, it's just like, you know, the infamous Crystal Red Dragon from Pom 3. Hasn't been seen in God knows how many years. But if the game goes late enough, Lash will have that option. And we've seen how absurd that trade can get, right? 4.5, 5, 6k gold. Passive income. Well, not passive. Infinite. Oh, nice pincher though, Cow. Well, that was a freebie. Lash, what is he doing right now? I mean, he's still got more mangoes on the front line, but giving away free siege like this is not great. He's going to be diving in response, though. Cow is just looking for the economy. Spinman will be able to dive a little bit deeper. Mangoes are a problem, though, and Cow now starting to lose some villages. Backstab coming through. But wait, that's mass crossbows. That is the worst idea possible. No. Crossbows and hand cannoneers sent for a backstab against mass mangoes. I wonder how this story is going to end. Oh my god. Lash has repaired the damage done, so no risk of a landmark snipe. The mangoes shuffle even deeper. He's come around for a backstab again. The nested bees are not that impressive though, folks. Look at it. I mean, cool if you can reload quick enough, but the mangoes should be able to finish you instead. Actually, Lash. Wait a second. Lash! He didn't take the easy win! He got baited! Bamboozled! Cow! He gets around the back! Cow with the sidestep on the second mango shot. Lash, a delicious target, too tempting to resist. Cow says, I am not done yet. Absolutely absurd there. I mean, Lash, he does still have the military lead, right? He's able to just keep pumping more of these troops, but definitely expensive mango loss. May not hurt him on his bottom line. He's got 8k gold in reserve, but it hurts him on his timing. Gives Cow hope of staying alive, but the hope is dwindling. It's fading quick here. Lash now has a 30 villager lead. Double the military. Cow trying to go into hand cannoneers is just so expensive and slow. has to be so demoralizing as well. Like, Cal probably checked this replay back at that point and go, I don't get it. He lost like 8 mangoes. Why did it not matter? And then you just, in that replay, are going to see your opponent had 8,000 gold in reserve. At which point, you're just like, yeah, Malian players should have to uninstall the game before Cal realizes he was also a Malian player. I love that Cal's trying to do this kind of like chip raid now. Like, actually getting some Palace Guard together and going in is probably the best thing you can do, but you need enough military to justify it. And right now, he lacks that raw military. Nah, Dry Arabia just seems to get us into the late game so often. We're now 40 minutes into this one. I'm just struggling to see where Cal gets resources now. If he gets blocked on the south side, it's over, right? The north side's already been secured. And Cal is losing way too much on this tree line. Buck is trying to run away, but they go run into the waiting arms of the main army, the Malians. Cal, just so many workers lost. Once again, a 30 eco lead. There's actually also Sofa back here that apparently Cal doesn't realize. He's so distracted right now. He's got Nestabees finally moving over. But the price is already being paid. 3 sacred sites locked in. The Raiders are still just murdering everything. Oh no, dude. It's Voldemar's farms all over again. The only reason he's not going to outright die is because there is at least the Great Wall Gatehouse. But the damage is racked up. I mean, look at this. That's 121 worker kills in a game where he only has 82 now. The Unitechs are just killing Cal. He doesn't have the gold. Like, this is the risk of going hand cannoneers without the AK secured. Right, I think like after the siege situation, after he got wiped there, trying to get back into hand cannoneers cost him way too much. He needed Unitech upgraded cheaper units. He doesn't have elite army tactics, and Mustafa had to destroy him. He doesn't have ensnare arrows, right? Like crossbows would have been a lot cheaper. It's so difficult to vouch for him in this type of position, right? Like, looking back at that earlier fight, I think Cal needed to build more outposts on the forward side, add in some Raptors there to get reproduction going in the fight, and then leverage the choke points to win. Failing to do that is what gave the opening for adjustable crossbars to even come through in the first place. Remember, Lash had to win that big fight that got rid of the keep as well, more or less, to stabilize. If that fight goes poorly, Lash is just dead to Trebs. And now, like, if you came into this game in the last 5 minutes, you'd struggle to believe that point even existed in the first place. You'd struggle to believe there was even a moment where it looked that bad for him. But now, Lash just looks like he's in full control. Mango Wolf coming in again. This is Cal's last stand. If he loses the army, he doesn't have the gold to remass anything. Would either. Ironically enough, you starve them by feeding them too much. And he has been starved out of this one. Cal began this series in style with a dominant winning game. But apparently that was the jolt, the shock to the system, the wake-up call that Lash needed to remind him that he is meant to be favored and he will take the win. 2-1, securing him a round of 16 placement where Lash will match up against either me or Micah or Lebanos. I'm excited for that one. And hopefully all will join me in it. If you like what you've been seeing here, make sure that you are subscribed to the channels, folks. Make sure you're following them. We do upload a lot of these onto the YouTube side. If you're watching YouTube, we do stream live there as well. We also do stream on Twitch, so be sure to hop in and join us. And, you know, let me know what you think of this game, though, guys. Like, did you think Cal should add this in too? Do you think that this game should have been a win for him? We were gobs hitting the floor from that game one because it's such a dominant stomp. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next chapter.